We have so much to ask you, Steve.
Okay, very good.
Welcome to the Rick and Kelly Show.
Great to be with you.
Today on my Newsmax show, I reported on this insane emergency declaration.
It's insane.
Please tell me your thoughts on that. To give money to illegals to help them fight the federal immigration deportation proceedings.
And also the part of it that I think is so offensive, obscene really, is the part where they're talking about rent, like giving you rent assistance.
Yeah.
So if you just think about what that actually means, you've already got a massive housing crisis in California, the most expensive, the highest housing costs anywhere in the country, whether that's, to buy a house or rents off the charts. People can barely afford to live here, especially working class people. And so one of the reasons that we have this housing crisis is because of illegal immigration, because there's so much pressure on what housing we have, all these millions of people who are here that shouldn't be here. So people saying, I agree, we should build more housing, we don't have enough housing. Yeah, but we've also got millions of people here living in the housing that are putting pressure on the system and increasing the cost of housing. So illegal immigration is one of the main reasons housing is so expensive.
Yeah.
So then what do? You're gonna take money from regular working class California citizens who can barely afford to pay the rent. You're going to take their tax money and you're going to hand it to the illegal immigrants who are part of the reason rent is so high in the first place. It is so disgusting, but it shows you that these people are just total ideologues. They're completely captured by the activists and the hard left and so on, and they don't care about regular working people at all.
Well, the other crazy part to me is they can get reimbursed for missed work. Like if they don't go to Home Depot that day because they're scared about an ice raid, they can apply to get the money they would have made illegally as illegal residents by, again, using our tax dollars. The whole thing is so absurd.
Yes, but it's yes, that's right. But it's also offensive. I keep coming back to that. It's just it's so brazen, the insult to the people who actually pay their salaries, the Board of Supervisors in LA County who did this, and who fund the government and pay the taxes. And it just sends this message of we just don't care about you at all. We're not interested in you or your life. We'll take your money in taxes, the highest taxes in the country, by the way. We're happy to take your money, and then we're going to spend it on people who shouldn't be here, on our political priorities, our ideological priorities, the things that we really care about, because it makes us feel good that we're looking after marginalized, the language that they use. But the people there, they are supposed to be representing the regular citizens of, in this case, LA County. They don't care at all. And it's so insulting. It's so like they don't even pretend that they care. And that's what's stunning to me about it, particularly the aspect of this that's about rent. And exactly as you say, the compensating for lost earnings. I mean, what are you talking about? You've got, again, think about the whole picture here. One of the reasons we have the highest unemployment rate in the country right now in California is, again, because of illegal immigration. So this is why we need change. We can't go on like this in California. It is just too much. And that's why actually I'm really confident that I'm going to win next year and become the governor, because people know we need a change. They just can't stand this anymore. Just the financial pain of it, the crushing cost of everything, and then to add to it this insulting prioritization of everyone's needs apart from regular working people. It's too much.
I was shocked to learn that Katie Porter was actually leading amongst Democrats challenging for governor. And then we had a field day with her videos last week on our show. Your thoughts on Katie's? She didn't really apologize. She kind of just said, no, the videos are unfortunate. And she didn't say, I'm deeply embarrassed or I'm really sorry and it'll never happen again.
The far left can never apologize.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. They just don't. And they again, it's this arrogance of this one party rule. This is what you get. We've had 15 years now of one party rule for the Democrats. And so they think they can just get away with anything. And then they don't have to be held accountable. There's no consequences for anything that they do. The media don't really ask them tough questions. If they ask them tough questions, how dare you? You know, we're kind of they're in this mindset that they're going to rule forever, whatever they do, however much they fail, however much they hurt people. And so it's that was what was revealed in the Katie Porter interviews, and actually it's what's revealed by the pathetic attempt to clean up. It's the same contempt for regular voters. And so but I don't think it's going to help her. It's interesting because in one way I could look at that and think, oh, this is good news, because in most of the polls I'm there with her in the top two. And of course we have this top two system in California. There's not a Republican and a Democrat primary. Everyone's on the same ballot, and then the top two go forward to the general election. In most of the recent polls, that's me and Katie Porter. I don't know whether that's going to last or not. I do know that the Democrat machine, and by that really in California, who we're talking about is Nancy Pelosi, they, even before this Porter meltdown, they were looking for another candidate. They don't particularly like her. They want their own candidate that they control. And so the speculation now is that they're going to try and get Alex Padilla, who's the US senator. Do you remember he's the guy that did that ridiculous stunt with Kristi Noem when he barged into the press conference and all of that? So that's the guy that they want now. I mean, they're all the same. They're just total mediocrities, machine politicians. They can't possibly bring about the change we need in California.
Do you think that she torpedoed her campaign, though, with those videos being...
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the thing is that, like I said, there's still, she's had people supporting her. Unions have rode in behind her, and she's out there and saying, I'm not backing down. What do you mean? It's not about backing down. It's that you revealed the kind of arrogant, entitled mindset that is just so offensive to people. But we'll see. I mean, but then they keep doing it. Did you see the Betty Yee interview? She's another one that basically torpedoed her own campaign. I was on with Piers Morgan earlier this week, I think it was on Monday, talking about Katie Porter. And they had a Democrat on, Betty Yee, who's the current state controller.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, I did.
Oh my goodness. Check it out. It's amazing. So we started talking about Katie Porter, and then Piers Morgan, and I was waiting to go on. It was Betty Yee was first, the Democrat candidate. And then it was me. And so he asked her a question about Katie Porter. She gave her, quite aggressive answer. And then Piers Morgan pointed out that he knew Katie Porter a little bit because he'd been on the Bill Maher show with her. He played a clip of the Bill Maher show. And the clip that he played was him and Katie Porter, which was about a year ago, having an argument about trans athletes.
Oh, yeah. I did see that.
Do you see this?
Yeah.
And then he just said, not in a particularly aggressive, not at all aggressive. He just, out of curiosity, said to Betty, so where do you stand on all this? And she gave the classic kind of BS, woke answer about everyone's equal participation. And Piers just like, right, what do you mean? And he asked her a series of questions about biological men in women's sports that she obviously had never been asked before, had never had to actually think about her position, which completely fell apart to the point where he was asking, okay, if you're the governor, you're running for governor of California, you'll be there for the Olympics. So are you saying that biological men you think should compete against women in the Olympics? And she said, yes, they're fair competition, everyone level play. And he said, well, what sports do you think that would be fair for? And she said, track and field.
Oh my God.
He said, what? And he said, which sports? What are you talking about? And she said, well, maybe the shorter races, it would be and I was watching it and my jaw was dropping. And I almost at the same time as Piers, I said, what do you mean? Like the 100 meters? You're saying that Usain Bolt can compete against the world? And she just she just fell apart. And at one point she ended up saying that she would like to see, this is a quote, a gender neutral Olympics.
I know.
Gender neutral. Like, these people are just it's absurd.
They
say it.
You should be so grateful, Steve, that you have people like that in this state, people like that embarrassing that party.
Right.
It's making the path a lot clearer for you, I feel.
I agree. And that's the thing that Piers said, and I went on and we talked about it a bit, as well as my other, some other aspects of my campaign. And I said, the thing is that, she may not even think she did a bad job. Because she was like just repeating the party line, and that's what they say. And it's obviously insane and makes no sense, but obviously ridiculous. But they say it. And so she probably thinks, yeah, that's what, I got through it. I said the right things. And any normal person watching it think, what? What are you talking about?
There's another Democrat who Kelly's friendly with, we both are, really, Stephen Klubeck,
Oh,
who
yes.
he's a conservative Democrat. And I'm wondering if what you think about him and if you think he would make a great governor.
No, I like him very much. He's a Democrat. We have a good relationship. We talk often and agree that we're the only sensible people in the race, basically. So I shouldn't probably say any more. Otherwise, I'll, really interfere with his chances. But he's running as a Democrat. I'm running as a Republican. But we both have exactly the same approach, which is we need common sense, practical, pro-business, get things done, kind of pragmatic approach to things, and instead of this insane ideology like we've just been talking about. And we've got to deal with these practical things that are ruining California. The fact that we've got the worst business climate in the country, so businesses are leaving. It's one of the reasons we got the highest unemployment rate in America, the highest unemployment rate, the highest poverty rate, highest taxes, highest cost for gas, electricity, water, insurance, everything. It's just everything is failing, and you just got to get in there. And that's why and that's probably one of the reasons we get along, is that although people know me from TV and hosting my show on Fox, and that's where we first met and so on, actually most of my career has been in business. I've been working in business all over the world. I started my own companies. I didn't make billions like Steve or, the president, but I did okay. Started a couple of restaurants, started a company here in California after we moved here with my wife and two sons in 2012. So most of my career has been in business. My first job was project manager for a construction company. So you really have to understand how to get things done, how to focus on results, and have that kind of pragmatic attitude. And I think that is what's so missing from our government here in California.
Well, you are running in a heavily Democratic state that's trying to redraw district lines and make it even more difficult for Republicans to win here. I know you got great name recognition. I'm sure you've been asked this 1,000 times about how a Republican can win back the governor's office.
Well, look, it's not going to be easy. I've never said that. But there's a couple of things. First of all, there's a majority for change in California. If you look at the polls very consistently now for the last at least 2 years, I think, when people are asked that question, is the state going in the right direction or the wrong direction, on the right track, wrong track? And that's usually a very good predictor of whether you get a change of political control in the subsequent election. The majority for change is very high, well over 50%, usually over 60%, 65% agreeing that we're going in the wrong direction. I always say, well, who are the 30%, 35% who think we're going in the right direction? But whatever, you don't need, as long as you have a majority, that's all you need. So let's put it in a simple way. There's a majority for change in California. That's the first point. You're starting from a position where people know that we need change. You have to persuade them of that. The second point is, well, how can you persuade them that it's Republican ideas and a Republican candidate that's going to make the difference? And of course, the party itself. And if you look at recent results, they're encouraging. President Trump in California got more votes than any Republican candidate for a generation. 10 counties in California flipped from blue to red last November. If you actually look at the turnout numbers and you project how many votes are going to be cast next year, it's a midterm election, and typically you get lower turnout. Well, actually, if we can buck that trend, if we can work hard to get the numbers turning out to vote, there are enough Republican votes. If everybody who voted for President Trump last year in California votes for me next year for governor, I'll win with hundreds of thousands of votes to spare. And so to get that turnout, there's something really encouraging. A very important part of winning next year, which is voter ID. We've got this ballot initiative out there for voter ID. If we can get that on the ballot next November, that'll really help get Republicans to turn out. And so I've always said the votes are there. It's a much more Republican state than people think. It's a more Republican state than they want you to think. They want us to be demoralized. They want this narrative of a Republican can't win. It's our job to be out there, my job, to be out there with a positive, energetic, optimistic campaign that says it doesn't have to be like this. We don't have to put up with this crap in California forever. We have the power to make a change.
Well, that's the other thing you got going for you is how bad things are. You've touched on it, how many problems there are here in this state. they're desperate, I would think, most people, for something better,
Exactly.
for lower taxes, for lower crime, for less homelessness.
I just don't understand how people don't see that businesses are leaving, taxes are high, how they keep voting for these morons like the Gavin Newsoms and the Karen Basses that are just completely incompetent.
I
I
know.
don't understand who are these people that are. Well, I know, like I was in Palm Springs and there was yes on Proposition 50 everywhere. And I'm like, who wants to make this more unfair? Like these people, these liberals, I don't get it.
Well, and actually, this is an important aspect of what the campaign is going to be like next year. So right now, if you look at that Yes on 50 campaign from the Democrats, it's almost entirely about Trump. It's not about California. It's about Trump, fight Trump, stick it to Trump, and so on. And what they're putting out in their ads is just totally dishonest. They're lying. They're saying that it protects the independent districting system, which it doesn't. They're saying that it defends democracy, which it doesn't. It's the opposite. They're just lying, and they're trying to make it all about Trump.
Yeah, right. That like they keep saying he's a dictator. We can't have dictators here. Why do they keep using that rhetoric? And they say it's against democracy. The democracy was that Trump won fair and square. I don't understand how they keep lying, how they can get away with lying like this.
Well, I actually put I mean, I didn't go anywhere, but I mean, there's a really egregious lie in one of the Gavin Newsom ads, which is this. It literally says those three words: protects independent districting. No, it doesn't. It literally abolishes it. Yeah. And so I wrote to all the TV stations, said, you're pushing out disinformation in this ad. You should do something about it. Didn't go anywhere, but you got to fight back. And I think that is the difference. I'm a fighter, I really am. And they haven't seen anyone quite like me and opposing them. So I think that, that's one of the things that's going to be different about next year. But to your point about Palm Springs, that is how they're going to fight it next year as well. Because they haven't got any way, they can't justify anything. They can't defend the record because the record's a total disaster, a failure on every front. All the things we've talked about, housing costs, taxes, gas prices, you name it. And then, of course, as you said, schools, we have the worst third grade reading, which is the most important thing for a student's future in the country. The crime, homelessness, everything is a disaster. There's nothing that they can point to as a success. And so they can't argue about California in their campaign next year for governor. That governor campaign next year is going to be all about Trump, just as this No on 50 is. But I think, because people know that with the governor's race, it really is about California and their lives. That's our opportunity in the campaign to say, look, whatever they say about Trump, it's not Trump who's given us the highest gas prices. Because you go to other states where Trump is also the president and gas prices are like half what they are here. Yeah. You go to Florida and Texas, Trump's still the president there, but you don't have the homelessness. You don't have these high housing costs. You don't have all these problems. So it's obviously not Trump. It's you, Gavin Newsom, and the Democrats. I'm looking forward to making that argument.
I love how you do that, Steve. I love how you break it down to the basics, like Trump's president in those states too. I love that about you. I think that's going to work very well for you. It already has, clearly. But as far as Newsom is concerned, do you think he's spending all this time on Twitter attacking the president to distract from all the issues and problems that he's not correcting here in California? Or is he setting himself up for a presidential run?
Yeah, 100%. That's it. That's the only thing he's thinking about. It's very obvious, like the amount of energy and time that goes into this trolling. And if you think about it, the real focus you can see on that, you can see from the way he's behaved this year, because at the beginning of the year, and also it shows how he doesn't believe in anything, Gavin Newsom. He's just a complete machine politician. He'll go whichever way, totally inconsistent, doesn't stand for anything, say whatever it takes. Because you can see that because at the beginning of the year, it was completely different. Do you remember? It was all about reaching out because he had a theory, which was the way that I will show the party that I'm the candidate they need to get behind is by showing that I can win Republicans over. They've just been defeated. Kamala Harris lost. They were all in shock. And so he was out there saying, we've got to learn how to talk to red states and win Republicans. That was the thinking. And so you saw that in his podcast. He starts this podcast. He has all, not just Republicans, MAGA, Republican. He has Charlie on, very first guest, Steve Bannon, all of this. And the party, the activists, hated it. He got massively negative pushback on that from the party. What are you doing platforming these Nazis? You know how they talk.
Yeah.
And so he did a total 180. Just, okay, that didn't work. Drop that. And now he's on to the exact opposite. Incredibly aggressive, pathetic trolling of President Trump. That is working for him. I wouldn't say in terms of the wider electorate, but just the only people he really cares about is the core, the Democrat base, because they're the ones that are going to choose the nominee. And so they lapping this stuff up. They really love it. And so he's doing more and more and more of it, totally abandon any pretense at running California. But I always say about this, maybe it's just as well, because when he is focused on doing his job in California, it's all a disaster. So maybe it's better that he's actually not doing anything and just sitting there, posting, dopey memes on social media. Maybe that's less damaging than him actually doing his job.
I don't want to take up too much of your time, Steve, but I am curious if you're enjoying this ride, what it's been like for you running for
president. No, I love it. I really do. Look, it's hard work, but it's a big state and it's a big responsibility, and I'm taking it very seriously.
Are you scared at all? Like,
am I what?
Being a Republican, are you scared?
No, never. And I'll be honest with you, I've never had, any kind of negative attention. Maybe that'll change if they see that I'm a real threat to them. But I go everywhere. I've been, mostly in places like LA and which are overwhelmingly Democrat right now. We got to do better in Los Angeles. But also, the other week I was on UC Berkeley campus. Tomorrow I'm going to be on UCLA campus. So I take that message everywhere, and I enjoy the argument, and I'm really appreciating the opportunity, apart from anything else, just to see this amazing state. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. Incredible people everywhere, particularly as someone who's started and run businesses. One of the things that I love about this job is that everywhere you go, you meet incredible entrepreneurs and people who've built amazing businesses, whether that's ag businesses in the Central Valley or, entertainment industry, obviously tech, everywhere you go, construction, a lot of amazing innovation there. Everywhere you go, there are amazing people in California, and they're just being held back by these stupid policies. And so my argument is, imagine how great it would be if we just did common sense things. The analogy I often use is like, it's as if we've got the boot of this big bloated nanny state government kind of stamping on the neck of California and Californians, and all you've got to do is lift it off, and we can breathe freely and do amazing things and restore the California dream. That's what this is all about.
That's what really resonated me with when you were talking here at Huntington Beach, because we live in Huntington Beach. Everyone came out and supported you. You were talking about the California dream.
Yes.
And how we don't have that California dream anymore. And I think that really, when you say that, it just really resonates with people, because we don't have California dreaming anymore.
No. And there's, the way I put it is that there was a time, and within living, not like ancient history, where when people thought of the American dream, that famous phrase, what came to their mind's eye was actually California and the California dream, and that beautiful, our beautiful weather and natural environment, just our lovely, it's beautiful suburbs and towns and beach everywhere. Yeah. The simple things, a good job where you make enough to raise your family in a home of your own, in a safe neighborhood with a good school, so your kids have a better life. We did that better than anywhere else in the world. There was nowhere on earth where you had that opportunity better than California, to live how you want to live, be who you want to be, follow your dreams, build amazing things, whatever you want to do. Whether your dream is just that basics of, the basic thing of a good life, or something incredible like designing rockets that go to Mars, it doesn't matter. In California, just follow your dream, whatever it is. And that's what's so depressing about what they've done, these Democrats. They're crushing that spirit of California, but actually, I think we can reignite it very, very quickly. It's just going to be such a relief when we don't have all this nonsense, breathing down our neck anymore.
Man, I hope that happens. I really do. Big fan of yours, Steve, and I
thank you.
Make a great governor.
I appreciate that. It's great to be with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Sure.
You're
all right.